Welcome to East Africa Daily News Center at 6 o'clock. Today we will be talking about not only about the current AIDS epidemic in East Africa, but also music and fashion trends happening now in East Africa, the current weather patterns, and the political debates happening currently. Today much information will be shared about East Africa currently, so please stay tuned. First, we will go to Abiona Rufaro to learn about some current events happening in East Africa at this very moment.
Thank you. Ethiopia plans on building a dam on the Nile River that will take 44 months to construct and complete. Egypt, however, is not happy with this, and thoughts to start a war over this issue are rising. Egypt and Ethiopia share this part of the Nile River, and Egypt is entitled to 55.5 billion cubic meters a year from the Nile's 84 billion cubic meters. The Ethiopian government made points and had facts that the new dam would benefit Egypt and Sudan by decreasing siltation in their irrigation projects and by reducing water wastage. However, by 2017, it is said that Egypt will face possible water shortages. 10 other countries share the Nile River along with Ethiopia and Egypt. However, this dam will mainly only affect the two.
Now let us learn a little bit about new fashion trends and music styles appearing in East Africa from Hassana Aki. Music sure has changed over the years in the life of East Africa. From traditional Benga Rumba, music has evolved to what is now known as Afro-urban music. This new style of music was introduced into the life of East Africa during the 1990s. People like Ted Josiah, P-Funk, and Steve Jean took a chance of bringing this type of music into the African world. At first, it took a while to get this type of music to gain acceptance, but time after time, local radio stations were getting tired of the same music. They finally accepted this music, and it was the start of a whole new beginning. Many productions have emerged since the beginning, such as Agopa DGS, Swahiki ENT, Africa Samawati, Homeboys, and Bongo Records. But even with these new productions, it caused a few problems. These problems include lack of infrastructure, trying to have proper finances to make the industry a big one, and not many people involved with the business knew exactly what they were doing. But recently, artists like Raw Goddess has helped the industry get back onto its feet. More production companies have helped each other, and that has really helped out East African music get on the rise and easier to get to the people. Old colonial trade route is inspiring, and that Zanzibar small footprint. In other news, according to locals, East African fashion is finally starting to blossom. New fashion designers have been coming about and have been focusing more on East African cultures, rather than the stereotypical Europe and American fashion influences. New fashion designers have been coming about and have been focusing more on East African cultures, rather than the stereotypical European and American fashion influences. African fashion is growing because more people are buying designer clothes and accessories. One person to help fashion blossom in the East Africa is Ali Rementulula. Some of his clients include Miss Tanzania to the wife of and kids of Tanzania's president. According to Rementulula, the fashion industry isn't as big as an industry in the United States or Europe, but the numbers of professional and amateur designers are rising significantly. Another huge designer is Doreen Mashika. She hasn't been in the industry for too long, but she has her name all over the bags, purses, shoes, and accessories all over Africa. She chooses to live in a smaller city than a bigger city because of the inspiration she receives there. Mashika states, being located at the crosswinds of the old colonial trade routes is inspiring, and that Zanzibar small footprint and prevalent made-to-order culture are useful. Most fashion designers would agree that most consumers now are showing a great deal of interest in the East African themes and colors, rather than the Western influences. Most people are so accustomed to the American and Europe fashion that East African fashion seems weird and not cool. But what's not to love about it? It has strong colors, gorgeous design, big patterns with intricate detail, and so much more. East African fashion has just started and has a long way to go. Now we will see what East Africans think of current fashion, music, and trends in East Africa. 2. What are your thoughts on the fashion industry in East Africa?
Well, now that lots of designers are deciding to bring their skills to East Africa is blooming in fashion and will soon be in the ranks with America and Europe. Money is pouring in, and I'm sure I speak for everyone that this is very exciting.
How has Afro-urban music changed East African culture?
Some say it's for the worst, but I say it's for the best. It's opened up the eyes of everyone, and it has really started a revolution. Music in East Africa is changing, and it is a well-needed change.
What are a few of your favorite things about the fashion in East Africa?
Well, my favorite things is that unlike America and Europe, East Africa's fashion is loud, bold, bright, and made in large patterns. It's something different, but different isn't always bad.
Thank you. Now that we have learned about entertaining topic in music and trends, it's time to move on to a more serious note. Here's Mashika Safia with the political update of this newscast.
Kenya's Deputy Prime Minister Uhuru Kenyatta and 2 others appeared Friday before the International Criminal Court because of charges of crime against humanity, murder, and rape. After Kenya's election in 2007, there was a very bloody aftermath, and it is said to believe that they are the cause for most of it. 3 other Kenyans from an opposing political group had similar charges on Thursday in the same court. The 6 defendants are the very first of the country's political elite to be charged with orchestrating the protests and ethnic fighting that killed more than 1,000 people and drove more than 10,000 from their homes. But after all the hearing, one of the defendants, Mr. Kenyatta, told reporters that he was innocent and the charges were all rubbish. Could that be true? Only time will tell.
We will now have a first-hand look at what Kenyans think of what is happening in their government.
Why did 6 defendants get charged even when one denied that he did anything?
It's believed that the cause for many of the murders and crimes after Kenya's...
Who is Mr. Kenyatta, and what is his explanation taken into consideration that it might be true?
He's also the country's finance minister and the son of Kenya's founding president.
What might prevent Mr. Kenyatta to be a rival candidate in next year's election?
His criminal proceedings and all the bad, harmful things he has done that are the effect of his charges.
We must now look at an issue that is spreading not only all over East Africa, but all over Africa. This issue is starting to be helped in Kenya. For more information, let's go back to Abiona Rufaro.
After many years of dealing with HIV/AIDS, a solution finally appeared with a way to help Kenyans get not only treatment, but tested for this killing disease. In a small area of the northern eastern province, there are only 9 testing centers. However, in the larger city of Nairobi, there are over 900. Thanks to VCTs, there are becoming many more test sites in areas such as the northeastern province. VCTs are mobile clinics that transport medical gear house to house in order to reach people who want to be tested for HIV/AIDS. However, Kenya's government is battling a treatment shortage because international support and funding have dwindled in the past year. To combat this problem, HIV/AIDS treatments have been starting to be made locally. The problems do not stop here though. There is also a shortage of trained clinicians. In Kenya, there are only 17 doctors and 85 nurses to every 100,000 patients. The first known case of HIV in Kenya was diagnosed 25 years ago. In Kenya, as of 2009, there are 1,500,000 people living with HIV/AIDS.
To understand how much AIDS really affected the people of Kenya, we will talk to a young girl who has had to deal with watching her surroundings disappear due to AIDS and has been affected by the wars of Ethiopia.
How has AIDS affected your family?
Well, personally, I am HIV-free, but both of my parents died of HIV/AIDS, and now I am looking after my younger brothers who are dealing with HIV.
How are the wars in nearby Ethiopia due to the Nile River affecting your food supply?
There was very little food to share in my area in the first place, but now that the wars around here have damaged much land and many people have come from different places to help in fighting, there is much less for us to eat. Starvation is slowly killing my younger brother, Shulampa.
In Kenya, what are the different roles for the different genders?
Well, because I am a girl, I clean our living area, which is a hut not far from here, and I look after what is left of my family, my brothers. I cook with the limited food we find, and I help get my oldest brother, Gokuro, prepared for war when that is needed.
You're doing a very lovely job, thank you.
We are now nearing the end of our 6 o'clock newscast, so we will now go to Juna Adilosa for the weather patterns and geography in East Africa.
This large area contains 19 different regions, ranging from Somalia in the north to Tanzania in the south. The unique geography of East Africa is highly scenic and often stunning. Here you can find the two tallest peaks of Africa, Mount Kilimanjaro and Mount Kenya. Also Lake Victoria, which is the second largest freshwater lake in the world. The climate of East Africa is kind of different in comparison to other regions located around the equator. Although it varies, East Africa is very cool and dry for its latitudes, because of its high altitude and the frequent western monsoon winds. Parts of Kenya and Greater Somalia can be, however, very dry. Many parts of these areas can endure years without seeing a single drop of rain. These droughts have been catastrophic for the already poor nations. Thousands of citizens have died from the starvation. Thousands of animals have also died. And, of course, the land is dry and barren. Other areas don't have this problem. They receive all the rainfall which they require. Most of the rainfall is in two wet seasons, one around April and the other in October or November. Rainfall in East Africa is influenced by El Niño events, which tends to considerably increase rainfall in the region. Temperature in East Africa, except for the dry areas like Somalia and Kenya, is very moderate, ranging from a maximum of 77 degrees Fahrenheit to a low of about 59 Fahrenheit. The unique conditions found in East Africa have made it very suitable for farming. The geography found in East Africa allows for an abundance of plants and vegetation, and supports a variety of wild animals such as elephants, buffaloes, lions, leopards, and black rhinoceros.
Now we will see how the geography of East Africa affects the people in this region by asking an expert on the geography and weather of East Africa.
What is a natural disaster that has affected East Africa?
In January 2002, Mount Nyiragongo had its first major eruption in 25 years, and it sent rivers of lava down through Goma and Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, destroying as much as 40% of the entire city and killing at least 45 people. The eruption initially displaced 400,000 people, almost the entire population of Goma, and eventually it left 120,000 permanently homeless.
How can global warming be an issue for East Africa?
Well, global warming can be a threat for East Africa, especially in the areas of Somalia and Kenya. With warmer climate, the already dry lands of these areas could become desert, leaving thousands of humans and animals homeless. It's very important, especially in these areas, to prevent global warming.
What weather should the inhabitants of East Africa expect to see?
Well, because we are in April, we are in East Africa's main long rain season. So everyone in East Africa should expect to see a lot of rain and should be prepared for that.
Alright. Thank you for watching East African Daily News at 6 o'clock. I'm Justin Blas Martinez. Thank you.